Hi, it's Sarah here from Crafting and Stamping, and I'm back with another quick card. And for my quick card today, I'm using this host set, Sit, Stay, Relax. This is only available if you are hosting a workshop or simply spending the minimum level that's required to get host rewards. So you could combine with friends and place an order that is big enough to qualify for this. So it's if you've got a qualifying order of £150 or more, then you get host rewards to spend. So it's great for being able to put your orders together with friends and get something perhaps that you can share. And this host set is just so much fun. It's lovely. We've got cats and dogs on here, so they're great. Right, so my quick card, and you could do this quick card with a different stamp set, of course. So I'm using, like I say, this host set, but you could do this with any set at all. Now, one of the things I've done is already cut my layers. So I've got a card base of Starry Sky. I've got a card front layer of Parakeet Party. And then I've got a card front layer, and this is, let me double check it, it's the Butterfly Kisses DSP, which uses a lot of the in colours, which is what we're doing here. Now again, I've already cut my layers for the stamped images, and the way that I worked this out was, this is why I love to have my grid paper. I just put it onto my grid paper. If I just move that down so that you can see the ruler, I popped it onto here so that I could work out how big I needed to cut it, and that just really makes things nice and quick. The mat that I use is 1/4 inch bigger on both sides. So that's all that we need to do there. And I did exactly the same thing for the sentiment. So I cut my piece of basic white ready, and then cut a mat that is just 1/4 inch bigger on both sides. So what we're going to do, we'll start to put this together. Let me put that out of the way and grab my seal. So we're going to layer these up, and let's just move that along a little bit. And I've chosen a dark colour for stamping. So we're going with the Starry Sky, and that will let the image show up well. If I'd gone with something paler, it won't be so easy to see. The sentiment won't be so easy to see. So I've gone with my dark colour for the stamping, and then picked out this contrasting Parakeet Party, which really zings, especially against the Starry Sky. And so we've just added an extra layer in to the card front. Usually I just have the card base and a layer on top, but today we've got that extra one. So now I'm going to stamp these. So we'll just put the mats to one side, and I'm going to stamp the sentiment and the image, both in the same colour. And like I say, this is a nice simple design that could be copied with any other images. So I'm just going to ink that up, and you can see we've got an outline, and there's a paler, what looks grey there is going to stamp as a paler colour of this Starry Sky. So I'm just going to stamp this now. I'll line that up with my grid paper so that I can see that I'm getting it straight. And I like to stand up and hover over, and I'm just making sure that the seat here is horizontal, just to help me get things straight. And there you can see we've not just got the dark blue outline, we've got that pale blue in the background. If we'd gone for a paler ink, that really wouldn't show up very much at all. So that's why I did that. And then I'm taking the sentiment, I'll have to be careful not to rock this because I have got it around the edges a little bit. It's a nice juicy ink pad, and I'm just going to gently press that on there. That's fine, and we'll pop that out of the way to one side. Now I just want to be really careful that I don't smudge these, so I'm going to turn them over and pop them like that and get some of my adhesive on the back like that. Grab it by the edges so that I don't risk smudging the ink. Usually I would have inked it and then left it a second or two to dry, just because I know that the ink pad is still fairly juicy. So there we've got our image, and now we just want our sentiment. Same thing, grab it by the edges so that we don't risk smudging it. Pop it down and just adhere it by the corners. That's not quite, I just want to move that over a tiny bit. That'll manage, I think. And then turn it over and press from the back. There we go. Now I want my dimensionals, and I've got some on the table here somewhere. Here we go. And I'm just going to double check this. I think I want that about there. And then I'm going to overlap this. Right, so I'm going to bring it down just a little because I'm just going to overlap this very slightly. So that looks about where I want that. So a few dimensionals. As always, I like to put them in the corners and then in the centre to make sure that we've got a nice balance. So the image isn't going to tip over at all. So, oops, grab it. And I wanted it around about there, like that. And because this is going to overlap a little bit, I need to make sure that I don't put my dimensional here. So I can have one here and have them over on these other two sides here. And where I'm going to pop the overlap, let me grab one that's got a bit more in it. I'm just going to put a bit of my wet glue there so that it will catch the overlap. It'll be at the same level, so that will be enough to hold it. So I'm going to have that, like I say, just want it about there. I don't want to cover up the chair legs. And there we have it. Now to finish this, I'm just going to add a teeny bit of another colour, and these are also the in colours, the 2022 to 24 in colours. And I'm going to go with these Sweet Sorbet dots. Whoops, one of them's already flying off, so I'll use that one. And I'm going to pop these around about and just pop a few dots here and there just to bring in another colour. We'll have one up here, and then we'll just have a couple down here. So I like to use odd numbers for embellishments, so that gives me an odd number there. And that is my quick card for today. So yes, I'd already cut the layers. That just takes a little bit of extra time, but you can see that picking the right sort of colour, it's already stamped that background as well. Now you've got the same thing with these other two images. It'll stamp the leaves. If we were using the same Starry Sky, it would stamp these leaves here in that pale blue, and it would stamp the stripes in the pale blue. So it's really fun to be able to use this. So I hope that that's given you an idea. And like I say, if you've not got the stamp set, if you've no intention of getting the stamp set, then you can use this same idea with whatever other images and sentiments you've got. Please do subscribe to my channel below to see a quick card like this every Monday and a quick tip every Friday. And thank you for stopping by.